everybody. How you doing out there in YouTube land? I'm Tom Connors. This is Midnight's Edge After Dark Live. We have with us Script Doctor. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well on this fine evening. How's everyone else doing?
Peachy.
Very
we also
well.
have, that was 70s Rock Fan. How you doing?
I am doing very well, sir. Thank you. I hope everybody is groovy tonight.
Groovy. We also have with us Six. How you doing?
Yay!
Whoa. That, of course, is you're doing your favorite little meme there.
Yay! I love that one.
He's so happy.
He says it all.
Oh, look, we got quite a crowd already. We got Goddess of Whim, I see in the house, Techman Blade, Stephanie Janisek's here, Vizarel's here, Cosmic Squirrel's in the house. How you doing, Cosmic Squirrel? He says, hey, Tom. Ham Dinger is buffering, but he's here. We have Asian, we have, or Asian O, sorry. We have Mecha J, who are both members. Thank you for that. Speaking of members, Olaf Van S has been a member for 12 months. Happy anniversary at the minimum effort puppy level. We appreciate that. And then we also have Darth Maul, as you see here, House Atreides, Sean Estep, Grand Admiral Adam, who's also a member. Thank you for that. Southern Viking. Thank you all for being here. Hit that like button. Please share out the stream. That lets everybody know we're live, because Lord knows YouTube does not like to let anybody know. I see Brett Cohn in here, as well as Gonzalo Bergali, who sent us a super sticker already. It's a little Shiba dog shaking his body from left to right, surrounded by red hearts, aka fartin' hearts, as I say. The cheese factor's here, and he brought some hamsters with him in case mine aren't working, it looks like, because they were waiting for us behind the scenes. Now we're just kind of, I'm trying to do 20 things at once. Andre's away, so it's been quite stressful trying to keep up with everything, and even he's having to help in the background, so it's still crazy. But we're here, we're live. Hope everybody's doing well.
You've been killing it on Midnight's Edge in the morning.
If you think so.
I think
killing
so.
it if you mean by really screwing it up, then
not at all, right. Sir.
I didn't hear any screw ups yesterday, other than the super chats that you missed, but I caught them.
Yeah, well,
that's
almost every day.
Did Andre leave you the key to the Midnight's Edge fridge, though?
So what bet did I lose? Goddess of Women.
The liquor cabinet.
The liquor cabinet.
She said I lost a bet. I made a bet. I'm sure I did. I make a lot of bets.
Is it something to do with the Congo membership video that you promised?
Maybe. I don't know. That's with you. Oh. That's what you bring up every 5 minutes.
Okay, maybe. I'll give you a week.
Not quite 5 minutes, but no, I got to come up with something special, but I'm just not sure what.
I have faith.
Did we watch the Munsters trailer yet? Unfortunately, I did.
I didn't.
I did.
I've never seen something that looked as good as it could for a straight to streaming or straight to video movie, emulate what it's supposed to be emulating, yet be the most miscast reboots of all time. And it's all Rob Zombie's fault. Grandpa, the guy he's got playing Grandpa is okay, but outside of that, quit putting your fucking wife as the lead actress in every goddamn thing. And the guy you got playing
married.
Fuck that. Yeah. Fuck that. No, he makes the monies. That's all that matters, right? Come on. He's Rob fucking Zombie. If she can't stay married to him because of that, then I guess she's just going to have to deal with the fact that he's Rob fucking Zombie and he can have tons of other women and get over it. Because at this point, the guy he's also got playing Fred is another one of his buddies he keeps dragging along. And I don't know where the fuck they thought that voice was a good idea. But my God, how do you take something that was so simple and easy to do? And the trailer doesn't look horrible, like the story doesn't look horrible. It's just completely miscast. And it's just it's going to be another middle of the road remake. The movie itself will probably be okay, but everybody will probably agree that Sherry Moon Zombie can't act, because they've said that for every movie she's been in. And everybody's going to wonder what the fuck the idea was with this stupid voice that they got the main guy doing. And that's probably what everybody's going to key in on. Or did I say Fred? I meant Herman. Yeah, Fred Gwynn is who originally played him. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I got the two
Fred
flip-flopped,
has
but
an
yeah.
awesome voice, perfect for.
That's what I'm
Waddle.
saying. And it's like, how can you not? Why is Brad Garrett not playing Herman Munster here? I mean, that makes no fucking sense.
That would be perfect.
Right?
He's awesome. Yeah.
His voice might be a little bit too deep.
Even still, I don't care. It's better than, hey, I'm Herman Munster. Like, whatever this guy's doing. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. Like,
I've seen it compared to a college short film. So, you know.
It does remind me of like film school.
Yeah.
well, it does
that's what it
actually
feels
kind of
like.
look good. I actually like the look of it, right? Like he nailed the look. To me, anyway, I thought. It's everything else is bad. At least the guy he's got playing Grandpa's doing a impression, I guess. So that's about the closest you got. But I don't know.
It's very Rob Zombie.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing.
necessarily good, no. But that's what it is. It's very Rob Zombie.
I mean, props to him for writing that House of a Thousand Corpses thing for what 25 years. I mean, that's a little Kiva Goldsman right there on the horror side.
It took him 3 tries to get it right, and then the 4th one to fuck it up again. Because Devil's Rejects is actually the best of his movies, and that's the third part. That's the third part of the original trilogy, and then he did the follow-up just before Sid Haig died or whatever, and I can't even remember what the hell it was called, 3 from Hell or something like that. And I got it, but I've never watched it because everybody said it was so horrible. I'm like, oh, so it took him 3 movies to get it right, and then he fucked it up all over again. Good for him. It's like, oh Lord. But anyhow, we have in the house, I think we got this one from Olaf, right? But thank you just the same. I just want to say thank you again. For 10 months now, we've had Tim Hayes here as a member. Thank you for that, Tim. One of my karaoke buddies. Appreciate the support. And Goddess of Whim here is also supporting us and says, wait, for the second week in a row, Ezra's not in the news. See, folks, there is a God. Actually, he was in the news, but everybody kind of ignored it, luckily. And that's kind of what our next editorial is going to be about, is the Amber Ezra situation and where that's at right now. Because you got all these outlets running with the idea that Warner Brothers is committed to Ezra Miller. It's like they're recycling news that was recycled from March and June. I'm not kidding. I've actually traced it back now.
I would have said the news this week was more about who might replace him if he was to be replaced. If they were to be replaced. Sorry.
Well, they were already trying to combat headlines a few months back that Dylan O'Brien and the Sam Clavicle. Sam Clavicle. There you go. That guy. Were the 2 main guys they were looking at, and they were trying to say, oh no, we haven't recast him yet. But what they were doing was they were looking at whoever they were going to have play him going forward. And then the news come out like 2-3 weeks ago. And this was all rumors. Of course, this wasn't official, that Warner Brothers had moved on from Ezra and they were no longer going to hire him for anything going forward, which is, we're all like, duh.
Well, we'll just have to keep abreast of the Sam Clavicle option.
He said breast.
Abreast of it. Clavicle. Anyway.
So now technically he hasn't wound up in the news, but yet he has been, but it's been like recycled news more so than anything.
Warner Brothers probably put him in a safe house and told him to keep his head down and shut up until they've got it recast, reshot, and put out.
That's assuming they found him.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I don't think they found him yet, because that's the thing is, before this, we had heard from somebody from Warner Brothers in one of the reports, can't remember if it was Deadline or Variety or one of them that said it, they had offered him help, and they didn't specify if he turned it down or they couldn't find him or what, but he didn't take the help anyway, was the what seemed to be the end result. And like I don't think they found him yet, to be honest with you. I really don't. I know there was reports of him being in Paris or something like that, but I think those were false, because supposedly he had gotten into a fist fight with the star of Elvis, but then the star of Elvis come out and said, no, that's not true. So yeah, that was the only other news, Goddess of Whim, that had come out the prior week, but that had kind of got snuffed out because it wasn't true. So luckily he's kept his nose down for this week anyway, for the most part. And then Big Raj, but the week's still technically early. We still got another day or 2 left, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Big Raj sends us a thumbs up, and I'm sure he'd appreciate it if you hit thumbs up as well. because that helps us out here. Then the Waltman 4 says, so the media sites have gave the okay to criticize the MCU now. Interesting timing. What happened? Actually, yes and no. Didn't you know? Did anybody else see Variety with the whole sticking up for Thor piece? Did you guys see that?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
They
I thought
shared it on
Variety's
Twitter.
always been sticking up for it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like it was
This is
a specific.
it's the
funny thing
shilliest of
is-
the shills.
this is in their VIP section, but they've actually made it available to everybody.
Oh,
Isn't that weird? Yeah. But
well,
Thor,
isn't it after a certain amount of time they take down the paywall if the story's old enough?
yeah, like after a week, I think it is, or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, Thor cements Marvel's theatrical recovery in one caveat. With one caveat, China. No, it did not. In fact, if anything, it tells us there's a downward slope or trend happening here. But yeah, no, the Waltman is right. Outside of this Variety piece here, and a couple other places like John Campea and stuff like that, they've kind of given up on trying to defend this movie. It seems like.
Well, I think Waltman 4 is right in that there has been criticism popping up now of other Marvel and Disney plus Marvel productions like Ms. Marvel. It's not necessarily the same criticisms we would have of those shows, but there are criticisms of them. So there's not the universal defensive position that has existed till now. So I think even the mainstream are starting to say, well, what is this phase 4 and where is it going? Why is it doing all this? And this was pretty dull. This wasn't so fun. And so there's a few cracks appearing in the wall, I think.
Yeah. Mecca J is curious if we got a chance to see the Streaming Wars Part 2 yet. No, I have not. I did hear that it was out. I just didn't get a chance to check it out yet. Hopefully I'll get a chance to later. Has anybody else here got a chance to catch up with that yet?
Nope.
Not seen the trailer yet, but been reading about it.
Oh, the last episode was pretty good.
That's the episode, but not
The way where they have the streaming rights and all that stuff. Yeah. So this is the second part of that. Yeah. Why do you fucking hate me, Ma? Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Happy National Mac and Cheese Day. Oh, is it? Wow.
It is, but it's also Happy Canadian Nude Day. Nude Day, I believe, isn't
There's got to be some correlation there because you Canadians love your craft dinner up there.
Couldn't you mix them together and make for some interesting pictures?
I think that's what it's all about, to be honest with you, Six.
Yeah.
I think it could be.
There's definitely, it's not a coincidence. They love their craft up there too much.
Mr. Tickle Trunk is nude right now, so he's keeping the flag flying. Literally.
We got two Canadians technically here on the board. Neither one of them are arguing with me, notice.
No,
craft dinner is great. I mean,
it is.
You can.
He's nude.
Mix it with
craft.
ketchup if you want. Some people do that. Or
put gravy on it.
Oh,
gravy on it.
Gravy or bacon bits or bacon or.
I put potato chips or tortilla chips in my mac and cheese.
The mac
hot dogs.
You can do so much with mac and cheese. It's like nature's gift.
It's a fail-safe food.
Bare Naked Ladies, part of their set in the 90s used to be making craft dinner on stage. In fact, they ended up.
You had $1 million, yeah.
Yeah, just eating it straight out of the box dry was part of their.
If I had $1 million.
And yes, Tim, I am Scottish Canadian citizen.
Yep.
Very welcoming up here. They even let me in.
Yeah, just like my uncle, who is Scottish Canadian, and your accent and pitch and voice is identical to his. It's quite freaky.
Perhaps I am your uncle. You just don't know it.
Kevin, I don't know if Elliot is Canadian, but you're the only one who wants to see Elliot Page's penis.
Elliot Page is Canadian.
Did he get one?
Is he?
Yep.
Whose?
Can you really define penis, though, Six? I mean,
Is it like a Frankenstein thing where you take it off?
I mean, there should be a program for all these. Yeah, exactly. There should be a program for all these people who are transitioning to like donate parts to the other person. Yeah. I mean,
because
I don't see a problem with that.
I can tell you right now, I have a penis, but I keep it in a jar on my desk.
Oh, gross.
Oh, I have one in glove compartment.
Okay,
right.
Mad Mardigan. Jesus Christ.
I have one in my
I
nightstand
mean,
drawer.
is that? I wonder how many hours after removal can that genitalia organ survive? Because I know like kidneys and hearts and liver and lungs are a couple hours.
Yeah.
Well, who had his? What was the name of
Hobbit,
that guy?
he
who
got
had
it back.
Yeah, he got his back.
And I was like, quite a while, because she threw it in a fucking field.
Yeah, but the whole county got out there pretty quick to find it.
Yeah, but it was like overnight and at least probably quite a few hours and then some. But
So I think script it would survive for quite a long time if mouth-to-mouth resuscitation is applied.
I think you're right.
oh shit,
This is
Well-
going downhill rapidly, Tom.
it is. Good evening, Nick Wise.
Speaking
You're
of going
just
downhill.
in time, yes, for going downhill.
Oh,
Um,
yes. How you
You're just
doing,
in time,
Tom?
actually. I was about to bring up the Beavis and Butt-Head story.
Yes! Let's fucking rage and talk about it.
Let's. Beavis and Butt-Head revival series gets August premiere date on Paramount Plus and drops the first trailer. Yes, a report that we did here on Midnight's Edge years ago has now come full circle. Paramount Plus has announced August 5th, I believe, is the date. Beavis and Butt-Head are back on TV, a revival of the classic
August
1990s.
4th, I believe. Strictly
Yeah, or
speaking.
4th. Yes, 4th. Yes,
Yeah.
here it is right here. They announced
Oh, so
Thursday. In
it's-
addition, they reviewed the first trailer, which can be viewed below. Let's see here. There we go. So let's check out this and be as transformative as we
Now
can,
that
I
you've
guess.
seen them do the universe, it's time for them to do a new series.
Beavis, what are you doing?
I'm alarmed that the teacher still looks relatively unchanged.
Yeah, wow. he would-
This is gonna be cool.
25 years.
Hey, was that your butt or my butt?
I don't know.
No! Fire! Fire! Where's the bathroom?
Down the hall to the right.
Hey, what are you doing?
I can't wait to see this.
Oh my god.
We got to stop
I'm
it every
so
few seconds to make it
excited.
transformative.
I'm
I like
hyped
how
about
clean the
this.
art is on this one. It's a little bit cleaner than the movie.
It is.
A little bit different, yeah.
Butthead, ass face.
Which one of those is your name? And which one is what you're calling me?
Yeah, the art, you're right, Script. The art looks a little bit more like it did in the old show.
There's a mosquito on your face right now. Hold still. I'll get it for you.
It's heartening to see that common sense and logic are still not part of their act.
No.
Did you hear that?
You get it? No.
Is it gone now?
No, before that, he's like,
There's a mosquito on your face
persistent
right
little bugger
now.
or something
Hold
like that.
still. I'll get it for you. He's a tough little fella.
a tough little fella. That's it.
No. Another clue.
What do we do with it?
Elementary, my dear dumbass.
So,
What the hell
Ah,
is going
that
on
was
here?
good.
We have a bountiful
they got a fucking.
Oh, the teacher's still. The
farmer's
teacher's
market,
Still the
yeah.
same.
harvest of produce.
They should have given him a little gray
well,
or something.
we just
but
came
hey.
here to
Right.
break stuff.
Beavis and Butt-Head are back.
We just came here to break
Streaming
stuff.
August
That's a
4th
great line.
exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Okay,
Stupid.
I can't
Uh,
wait. I'm
I can't wait for that.
very excited. I didn't watch the trailer earlier. I was like, I bet Tom's gonna show it on MEAD, and surely enough, oh man, this looks good. I'm excited. Consider me hyped.
I can't wait. I don't know if we'll see Daria or not. Maybe. Never know. It'd be interesting to see. She'd be like 40 something and divorced with a kid or something.
I'm curious about like the principal and the gym teacher. Like,
Yeah, well, I think the
what's going on with
principal's
those-
dead. I guarantee you the principal's dead.
That's no obstacle to being on a show.
He had a fucking heart attack. I guarantee you.
They'll just
Or he has a heart attack the day he sees they come back. You
Yeah,
watch.
that makes more sense because he'd be like normal and healthy and
Didn't
fit
he have a
and
heart
happy.
attack in the last episode too when he saw him still alive after he thought they were dead?
in the movie?
No, in the last show, very last episode, Beavis and Butthead are dead.
Oh, and talk about the
2011?
revival, the first revival series.
2011 revival?
The very last episode of the original show
the
is called
original.
Beavis and Butthead are dead, and everybody thinks they're dead.
Yes.
And then at the
okay, I
very end of the
remember.
episode, they show up at
Yeah,
school, and McVicker like has a heart attack. I swear to God. Because everybody thought they were having like this big memorial, and McVicker, his stress leaves, and he's like normal. He talks normal now. He's not like all anymore. He's like, wait a minute, you're still alive, like, and he dies. I swear to God, that's
Was it
I
the
believe
gym
you.
teacher and the principal in the courtroom in the movie?
You're probably right. He may have survived the heart attack. That doesn't mean he didn't have one.
Yeah.
And yes, we will help. I think they're going to do music videos. I don't know what else they're going to do, if they're going to do
Well,
similar stuff to the
I think they're gonna be
2011
doing-
revival, or
I think they're going to be doing TikTok videos, right? Talking about TikTok stuff.
oh
and-
Lord.
Damn it, Sam Vin
It's on the
Diesel.
TV.
You know the
Others-
vibe here.
Yeah, there's not so much music videos. I think they're going to be basically watching TikTok stuff and talking about it. So
70s.
Well, on the
No.
2011 revival, they watched like 16 and Pregnant or
yeah,
whatever, Teen Pregnancies or whatever shows, and like the other MTV stuff they had, like the Jersey Shore. Like there was a whole one they were making fun of Snooki on, and
yeah, and I think YouTube videos too are going to be part of their criticism, if you want to call it that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Because I think they were talking about doing YouTube videos on the 2011 revival, and they never did any. They just did MTV
Yeah.
stuff.
I think that's what they're more focusing on this time, and that could be interesting depending on who they pick. I mean, if they're looking at like an Aussie Man thing for real, like an Aussie Man reviews
Yeah.
type video, there could be some interesting comments.
I doubt Mr. Anderson's still alive, because he'd be like 110.
Yeah, because he fought 2 foreign whores.
Oh,
Not only that,
Steve.
he got arrested at the end of Beavis and Butt-Head to America. I wonder if he ever got out
Yeah,
of
by
that.
the ATF.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember if he showed up after that. He probably, because I think that was part of the way. I can't remember if Mike Judge had him in later episodes or not, because I think he kind of tried to take him out because it was the same voice as Hank Hill, basically.
Yeah, aka not Hank Hill. That's why I always called him when I watch it now.
I always just
Every
figured
watches-
Anderson's like an older version of Hank Hill anyway, basically.
Yeah.
Like a second cousin.
Yeah. He likes butane instead of propane, though.
Oh, that's true. So maybe it's all
You
connected.
gotta have a good butane regulator on your camper.
Basically, like Cotton Hill hates his cousin Anderson, and that's what he is.
Yep. Yeah, the butane guy, exactly. Not propane, butane. You guys are the kids that were off of my tool shed whacking.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
God damn it.
Oh man, I can't wait. Seriously, like watch this trailer. This got me so hyped up. Like it's
I can't wait.
it's it's going to be nice to have something fun to or looking to be fun to talk about on the daily. This is something that we needed in our lives more now than ever.
Even more so, I can't wait for the classic episodes that are supposed to be getting remastered. We haven't heard on when that's supposed to
If there's a Blu-ray edition that comes out of it, I'm gonna spend all the money on it if that comes out.
It's heartening to see that from what we've seen from the movie and this trailer, that it looks like it's still in good hands. It's
Mhm,
not going to be corrupted. It's going to stay true to itself.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
very encouraging, and it looks hilarious. I have to say, very encouraged.
be. Yeah. Well, I think it also helps that Mike Judge went and got 50% of ownership back.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that was one big point of contention between him and MTV for a long, long time.
Do you think that's why the original Revival series got canned? Because I remember that original Revival series was actually good, and think, oh yes, the show was
No, I
good,
think
and
that
it
was just meant to be
doing
a
well,
one
the
and done.
ratings.
I think
Oh,
it was just
was
meant to
it?
be because it was that whole deal was surrounded the 50-50 deal. That's when he got that,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
it canceled out the second movie that never got made. It was actually made it as far as I believe
Oh.
pencil tests and shit like that. Like they had a second movie. It was called Beavis and Butt-Head Do the World.
Yeah, I do remember that was supposed to think,
And
I
it was
did- I-
almost ready for production, and Mike Judge and MTV and Paramount had some big fallout. And it was, I think it had partially to do with merchandising, partially to do with Daria, partially to do with MTV owning everything of Beavis and Butt-Head. And
Mhm.
I even remember hearing that he got pissed off that they put him in like a celebrity death match without his approval, because that's why
Right.
he doesn't do the voice in that.
Yeah, they in the Chip and Dale film, they have a poster of Butthead running for Congress, I think, on
Yeah.
a park bench. And I think that was one of the only things Paramount currently to this day can get away with doing without his permission is they can do the images, but they can't do the voices or gags.
Yeah, so that was the thing is then after the deal, they reworked the deals to get him to do the revival, and that canceled out the second movie. And he got to do the revival, and then he got like 50% ownership after that. So now he owns them 50-50 with MTV. So that's where this new deal spawned out of that, basically. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm optimistic. It feels
because
very
we
good
were
to be
actually
optimistic
reporting
about
on this like 2 years ago. He's been trying to work out a deal for a new revival of King of the Hill, but that's a little bit different animal because I think he owns the rights to King of the Hill, but I think Fox owns the distribution rights on it. So technically it'd be under Disney. So unless the show is over and he can do whatever he wants with it now, then that may be a different story. Of course, Script knows what I'm talking about too. It's like, he may own the rights to the show now. As long as he's free and clear, he could do it for anybody pretty much, right?
Does Comedy Central have any right over any of this? Because I know
Well, they're owned by CBS, so
they're all the same company.
They're all the same, right? Okay,
so they're okay. Yeah. With regards to technically, Mike Judge could do a sequel series to King of the Hill. The only issue is that he can't re-release the original series through Paramount. That'd have to go through Disney now if he wanted to do more, rebroadcast it.
Right. I mean, because the show's been done now for a while, right? Like it's off the air and everything.
Yeah, it's been off the air for at least a few years before Brittany Murphy passed away, right? So
I was gonna say because I think all the deals with that would be free and clear and over with. So he should be able to, as long as Fox doesn't own any portion of the actual characters and stuff like that. You're right. I'm sure they own the old show, like you said, but
they probably have a distribution contract to the old show, but that doesn't necessarily mean he can do a sequel if he wants to. He just probably can't do anything that's too directly that would conflict with the distribution of the original show that was under the contract with Fox, now owned by Disney.
Yeah, because for some reason, and this is why I say this, is I remember some interview where he talked about owning those characters because he said he made sure of that after all the shit he went through with Beavis and Butt-Head. Because back then he didn't understand it, and to him, Beavis and Butt-Head was like this throwaway thing. He didn't know it was going to be what it was, and he didn't understand what he was kind of signing over at the time either.
Yeah.
Right. So
but no, you can actually you can confirm that he owns the characters outright because there's a staple that most studios and production companies do not want to do with regards to cartoon characters, and that's age any of them up. And because Mike Judge owned the characters, he was able to age up the one character, Joseph.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And the thing that really that pissed off Mike Judge is that some of the affiliates that would air the show would not air them in the proper order. So they would show episodes with Joseph already aged up before the puberty episode hit. And he would get really upset with that. And he's like, that's a violation of the air contract date that we had with the affiliates. And it screws things up because now the audience is like, well, who's this other kid they're calling Joseph that's a foot taller than everybody else was when just the week ago he was normal. So yeah, but yeah, he can do that. He aged up characters and he was able to kill off characters and stuff because he killed off Cotton. And
if I remember our original report, both of the shows were supposed to be updates, so it wasn't going to be like they were supposed to be. I'm assuming it'll be like X amount of years later.
Yeah.
And Bobby will be in his 20s or 30s, and
supposedly Bobby Hill's in Beavis and Butt-Head Do the Universe.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Time to get those rewatches in.
Yeah, I can't wait to. I've watched it twice already. I can't wait to see it again when I get a chance. But I can't wait to talk about a certain movie next week with you, Nick.
Oh yeah, Beavis and Butt-Head Do America. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah. With guest voices of David Letterman and Paul Schaefer in that movie. That was.
And also,
did anybody confirm it was Paul Schaefer ever?
And Demi Moore.
I was always assuming it was, but I was never sure it was Paul Schaefer.
I didn't know if it was Paul Schaefer. I could see why people
I've seen
think
the rumors of it say it was.
I know it's David Letterman. They've confirmed it's David Letterman for sure. Doing Butthead's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, because David Letterman was a huge supporter of Mike Judge.
Yeah.
Still is.
Well, there's like a whole bunch. You can go on YouTube and find all his clips. He had Beavis and Butt-Head on Letterman all the time.
Yeah.
And he would show up with them on the Oscars and shit all the time. And yeah, he loved Beavis and Butt-Head. You'd be surprised how many celebrities actually loved Beavis and Butt-Head. back in the day. There was a lot of them. But anyhow, there was other news, another trailer that came out, but we're going to get to that in just a moment. We got a couple super chats here. We did get this one, or no, we didn't get this one. Sorry. Gerald Armstrong says, did you see the Beavis and Butt-Head iceberg where the rumor is Mr. Anderson is Hank Hill's real father? No, but I could see that. I could totally see that. And Dash Attack says Beavis's pronouns are ass munch. You said ass munch.
He said munch.
And then DCB Titan says, isn't Bobby one of the bullies that read Sonia Serena murdered in Beavis's? Oh, maybe. I'll have to look. I didn't even think of, yeah, I was going to say now I'll end up looking for everywhere for him. That might be it. That was a cool scene.
It was very cool.
I'm a deer. No, we did miss that one from Mecha J. Thank you, Six. That one from Mecha J, it looks like I accidentally missed. Here, whoops, here it is. Mecha J says, I heard that Mike Judge wanted Mr. Anderson to be Hank Hill's dad in King of the Hill, but couldn't due to issue rights. That's very plausible. Because at that time, MTV would have owned the characters. And that's why they were able to do Daria without any of his involvement whatsoever. Oh, here we go. We got an image from Monkey Jeebus. So we may have an idea of what older, what he may look like right now, actually. Let me see, make it bigger. There you go.
Oh, yeah. That totally looks like Bobby Hill.
That's probably what he'd look like in the revival, then, I'd imagine.
Wow, that is Bobby Hill. Tell me that it's not.
From?
This is from the movie, because that's the agent and her partner behind.
No, that's the lieutenant governor and
the governor. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. The astronaut lady.
Yep.
So evidently he is there. Cool, cool. All right. Well, then we also had this Lord of the Rings trailer. Did somebody actually have the trailer itself? Is it on YouTube?
I have not seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay, because I'll show it if it's on YouTube, but if it's not on YouTube, I ain't showing it. Because the last one they went after everybody for.
I haven't seen it.
It's long.
That's what she said.
She said long.
Long.
Oh,
let's see if I can find it here. Lord of the Rings. Oh, look at here. Pops right up.
All right, show it to me, Tom. It's taking a long time.
Wow, we come up as a third video. Not bad. But that's just on my search, too. So.
Oh,
That's because you're always searching for yourself, Tom.
The power of hashtags.
I'd search for Tom, too, if I was Tom.
How do you know what I do in my spare time? Jesus.
He's trying to search for himself.
The world was so young. There had not yet been a sunrise. But even then, there was light.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect.
Huh?
Diddly 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 potatoes.
I'm getting a lot of 25% different Jackson vibes here, but we'll see.
Dwarfs their minds. Mend their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
What did she say? Did she say hobbits?
I thought she said hardfoots.
She said
okay.
She said Harfoots.
She has to say Harfoots.
Okay. I was going to say, but they can now say hobbits if they wanted to, but not then.
But we Harfoots have each other.
Oh, she did say Harfoots. Okay.
I must now wander this wandering way.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel. Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
You have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen.
Okay, so basically it's already, I'm men, I know everything, and everything's fine. And she's like, no, it's not. I know everything else, and I'm smart and I'm right.
My share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all.
The past is dead. We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
I must wander this wandering day.
Why are they walking like they got corn cobs up their ass?
Maybe they do.
I think the past is dead is the key line in that trailer.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be the past. I'm confused.
Right? So it's like, which one is it? Are you like the past is dead and yet this takes place in the past? Are you talking about like the past? Like
just as
They're setting up for a prequel to this show.
They say the past
prequel
is
to the
dead.
prequel.
We either move forward or we die with it. Meaning, if you don't move forward with us with our diversity and inclusion, then you can die back in your.
That's the statement right there. You nailed it.
Okay, well, now here's the thing. We finally got a little bit of story here, I guess.
Did the good guy say the past is dead, or did the bad guy say the past is dead in this? Because that's important. If the good guy says that, that's not good, because that means that they don't care. But the bad guy says it, they're bad. They're supposed to be wrong.
Ellen Dill says it.
Ugh.
He's a good guy.
And Elrond's kind of saying it in the beginning there, too, right? Like, that's what he's saying. It's all over. You've fought all your wars, and I'm not even close to Elrond.
It's a great Liverpool accent.
I know.
It's fab. It's great.
Guy.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. What I resent is the fact they've taken images from this now and put them on the books, which is, yeah.
Have they really?
Thing. Yes. Yeah. That's a different thing from the trailer, of course. Different subject, but
which is funny.
Tolkien Estate seems to be beholden to Bezos bucks now. So,
well, there's definitely people who are going to pick up the books because of this, because this might be their first introduction to Tolkien. So, in that way, it's good. But trying to sell the show I think it's a little bit convoluted to assume that people are going to make a connection between the two. There's not enough of this time period in the three main books.
Here's where it's misleading though, Six, because they're gonna, if they watch the show, they pick up the books, they're gonna like wonder what's going on with these stories. This is not what I experienced on the Amazon. And you want to know how I know that's gonna happen? I saw it happen immediately when Logan came out back in 2017, because you had that was Hugh Jackman's final movie as Wolverine. And at that time in comic book world, I remember seeing potential new customers come in and saying, hey, I want to check out some Wolverine comics. And of course, it didn't help that the guy working at the store made it complicated. He's like, well, are you talking which X-Men comic? X-Men, Amazing X-Men, the 800 Wolverine titles, and before
Uncanny
you know
X-Men.
it, Uncanny X-Men, and then you have to say, also Wolverine is dead now, so it's actually X-23 who's alive. Yeah. So now you're thinking, oh crap, I just saw this movie on Logan. I want to learn about Logan, and I found out he's dead in the comic books. What?
Like, you want the stories where he goes by Logan, or do you want the stories of James Howlett?
Yeah. Before you know it, it just feels like, well, I guess I'm not going to get anything of what I just saw on the screen. And before you know it, you've already lost a potential long-term customer. And because, it's good in the sense when people want to seek out the source material, because it says, okay, I want to see where the root of this came from. And then, sometimes they'll pick up hey, okay, this is different. But sometimes some people even go on to respect the source material and realize, okay, this is what it really is. But then you'll have the other half that's like, oh boy, wow, I'm not happy with what I'm reading because I'm being misled with this show. So yeah, it's This is gonna open up a big can of worms. It already has, but I think we just hit the tip of the iceberg with that can of worms.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks like, as far as like the money that they spent on this visually, nothing looks like overly CG. It all looks good, look
Except for
wise,
that
like
dove
technical
scene.
wise.
That
That
those
did
doves
look
flying
a
over
little
looked
bad.
way off.
Yeah, that didn't look too good. But I mean, like the cities and you know, the landscapes and how the lights are working with everything, and everything seems to be part of the same image, unlike we've seen recently with things like Thor and Star Wars and whatnot. Outside of that, though, I have no praise for this. Some of the makeup and costumes look neat, yeah. But now that we finally have a little story, there's nothing here that's really pulling me in or intriguing me or anyway. Or like, we already know where this is going. Like, even if it is just kind of Fugazi storytelling because they're just pulling shit out of their ass from the, you know, because
They
are
don't
they
have
even
the
able
rights
to?
do anything for them to pull.
I was
out
gonna
of.
say, do they even have the similarity or some?
Nope.
I was gonna say they don't have nothing.
Fine.
It's just
an appendix is all.
An appendix is all they're allowed to use for this specific series now. Although since then, Amazon has acquired the rights to The Hobbit, as far as we know, but that's a whole nother discussion to be had. Because this deal was made long before The Hobbit and filmed long before they made that deal and all that business. So I don't think they can, and the two probably can't even cross over anyway. Because I think this was a totally different deal than that. But I'm just curious because, like, 6, you actually liked it originally. Like, you kind of seemed like you enjoyed the first trailer we got. What's your reaction to this one now?
It looks like any other epic, fantastical TV show. Like, it reminds me of, although I didn't watch much of it, Game of Thrones. It doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings to me.
Generic fantasy.
It's a generic fantasy. It looks like maybe something that Brandon Sanderson may have written, which he's an amazing author. I'm not dissing him at all in saying this. I wanted to love it. Oh, so badly. I wanted to love this, but I don't.
I think I would have been more willing to accept it, and I mean it was okay. I'm not a huge scholar of Tolkien, but if it hadn't been for the production team and the participants in it already putting out all their statements about how if we don't love it, we're all horrible people, which doesn't help. You know, that tends to make me think, meh, I don't care. You know, so no matter how good it was, that could have been the best trailer we've ever seen in our lives. That alone is enough to make me go, meh. Because I would have been willing to give it a chance. As I say, I'm not the world's biggest Tolkien scholar. I get a lot of the info on this from Gary and from Salty Texas Sea. Corey is a great Tolkien guy. And they've been talking a lot about what the story problems are. And again, that tends to put me off because they're changing story elements or making up story elements in this case that were not in the appendices in order to support their slant. And also they're bringing in characters that didn't exist with a particular purpose behind it, or so it would appear. I might be the cynical one here, but that tends to put me off from wanting to give it a chance. So I don't know.
Well, they have to fill in the gaps because there's only 150 pages or something that they're supposedly allowed to use for this. So I understand that they're filling in gaps, but they're filling it in with, you know, if you're going to be filling in a pothole, you don't fill it in with shards of glass. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Ooh, well,
Or in this case, even pudding. I'll even be nice to him because at this point, that's kind of what it feels like. It doesn't feel like it has any substance to it, right? Like, again, it's a very thinly veiled story we're getting from this now second trailer. And this trailer is almost 3 minutes long.
Yep. All we know
just
is that
over
Galadriel's
2.5.
like, there's an enemy out there. Does it have a name? Does it have a faction? Does it have a place of origin? Like, details, man. Like, whenever you have one individual preaching there's an enemy out there, they're usually a conspiracy theorist and not the type where the conspiracies come true, unless, of course, someone ends up saying, okay, I'll be that enemy that this person's been preaching about for a year and a half. Like, there's you know, the story's in the details, and if you don't lay out just enough for me or for the audience to be like, oh, that seems like a threat, then why am I going to invest, you know, the hour in the pilot to watch if you're not going to tell me that, one, that there is a threat and what it is to a degree. Like, just the idea of a threat is not good enough for people.
Okay, so my understanding of what this show is supposed to be is the story about the rise of Sauron, whichever one it is, yeah. And then this is going to be taking place all before that battle that we see in the beginning of Lord of the Rings, where he gets his fingers cut off and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see any of that shit. It's all prior to that, and we're even supposed to be seeing, I think the rumor was we're even going to see Sauron in like not a human form per se, but like his initial form, which is another thing that has been written about and people already kind of know about. But like, again, what in this is interesting though? We already know where this goes. The more interesting story is the Lord of the Rings. I mean, like, that's why I don't understand the thought process behind the show to begin with. And I'm not trying to rehash all the shit we've been saying for the last 2 years, but no, I'm looking at it as people have been saying, wait until. Well, now they've given me a 2+ minute trailer and the show comes out in less than 2 months. What else am I supposed to wait for here at this point? Like, there's nothing here that's like, I don't give a shit about any of these characters. There's no hook. Exactly.
I didn't
even Beavis and Butt-Head had a literal hook in it, for fuck's sake.
I didn't really get the sense from this trailer of who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, what the threat is.
What's the conflict?
What's the conflict? I mean, I'm not asking them to spell everything out. It's a trailer, but I think it would be nice to at least have a few hints, like, who am I going to be rooting for in this? Who am I not going to be rooting for? What is actually at stake? I think would have been nice. Somebody did mention the end of everything. Well, what does that mean?
That doesn't mean anything if we don't know if we don't get at least a hint of what the cause might be.
Not only that, we know it doesn't end everything.
Well, it doesn't end everything.
I mean, that's irrelevant. I mean, let's take a look at something more recent with that of a story a lot of people know about, especially if they're fans of the property, but still was relatively successful, and that's The Offer. It's a prequel of how they made The Godfather. A lot of people who followed The Godfather, love The Godfather, know a lot about that stuff. But, it's the thing is that they're telling a story in a very interesting and fun way where you do know the outcome, but it's the journey that's important. And that's the thing that's the trick with prequels, is that you have to make that journey incredibly important because it's not about the ending. Like, and that's true with every story. The stories are not about the ending. It's about the journey to get to that ending. Because most people, when they open a book, they know, okay, the hero is most likely going to win 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. So, and they don't put down the book because of that. They keep reading because everything that's fair up to that is what's there. And the thing is, like, do I believe that the people at Amazon are doing that, taking that mentality when it comes to Lord of the Rings? Probably not.
No, because I can already predict what this show is going to be. You're going to have everybody's going to keep getting visions, especially Galadriel, of the burning eye, the burning eye, the burning eye, the burning eye. And it's going to keep teasing and teasing and teasing and teasing. And then as the very last episode, you're going to find out that the whole time it was this guy that Gonzalo said, Holbrand. And he's going to be like, yeah, I'm Sauron. And this is how he became Sauron, right? And that's all it's going to be. So I agree with you.
Bad a guy. He's not that bad a guy.
That's what it's going to be. He's going to be that. He's going to be misunderstood. You're right. That's going to be where.
I tried to unite everybody, and you all turned against me. So I'm going to kill you all. Yeah,
exactly. It's not my fault.
So we can already kind of.
Nobody's going to believe Galadriel. She's going to be the one. Well, she just has PTSD because she lost a bunch of her family members, and nobody's going to believe her. And it's time to put down your sword, Galadriel, and put on a pretty dress, which I would love if she would put on a pretty dress. But then in the end, it's going to be, oh, she was right. She was right. We should have listened to Galadriel.
No, you're 100% right. We just told you exactly what this show is going to be, I think.
The other thing is, I didn't see Darth Vader in this trailer once.
Not
disappointed
once.
Not once.
Not even his breath.
Yeah. How they've done to this franchise, I don't know. But,
oh, that was hilarious.
So as not a Tolkien scholar of the books, I've tried several times to read them in the past 60 years and struggled mightily. I'm more coming at it from a Peter Jackson angle. I mean, I absolutely adore those movies. Yeah. So anything that happens has to stand up against those movies. And that's
I used to be a huge I used to be a huge nerd of the books and of the appendices way back in the day. And then when this show was first announced, I remember Andre and Tom saying, "Oh, we're not going to cover it." And I was like, "Oh, well, fuck that. I guess I'm not going to have to dive back in and study up." But now here we are talking about it. So I'm like, my memory is
Andre changes his mind a lot.
I know.
Well, here's the thing is I'm more like you, Six. I was more like, I was into the books, not so much the appendices and stuff, but definitely the main, Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Books, yeah.
Yes, the picture books, exactly. I like the colorful pictures, and my original introduction to this world was the Hobbit animated special from back in the day, from '77. Because got played a lot on television, and the video and stuff was pretty readily available as a kid. Because like every Tom, Dick, and Harry released it on there. For some reason, it got like everywhere. But no, so that was my initial introduction. So then I got the Hobbit, I think in like 4th or 5th grade. We read it. And then from there, I, of course, read The Lord of the Rings. And then I read them again just before the movies come out. Then I read them again like just over 10 years ago. But I've probably forgotten more about the lore and all that shit than I remember at this point. That's the thing. But of course, when those movies came out, it was a big deal for me. I didn't think they were going to be huge at first. I'm like, oh yeah, they'll do all right. A lot of people know about The Lord of the Rings, but not many people did when those came out. Those movies really put them back on the map with nerds. I mean, yes, a lot of people knew about Lord of the Rings, but not to the extent that they are now. Now they're almost Star Wars level, is my point.
Those movies blew me away, and this is somebody who tried to read the books over a number of years and never really got into them. I'm much more a hard science fiction guy than a fantasy guy. Those movies blew me away. So this
blow you away.
I was blown away. So these are going to always... This Amazon show is going to have to compare to that for me. What does it look like compared to that? How does it stand up against it? That's a tall order, even if this was to be a good show. That's going to be a tall order. By the way, Tom, have you got the 31 disc 4K Lord of the Rings?
No, I didn't get that big ass thing. I just got the main trilogy. I don't need the Hobbit. I already got the Hobbit in 3D, so I didn't need the 4K.
Okay. I just wondered.
Loki did, and he did a unboxing video.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it was stuff that was none of it was new. It was all pre-released outside of the 4K scans. So they did the same thing to everybody, and fucking Gary got suckered into that too. It's like, I wish I'd have known you back then, and I told you not to buy that. It's like, yeah, he goes, I realized I had everything already in it. It's like, yeah, it's just they put it in fancy cover and they put it on a fucking shelf. And they charged $200 for that.
Well, you can get it for about $90 now. So
yeah, well, no, the 4K one's not so bad. Like that one, they didn't overprice. I'm talking about the one they did a few years back, right after they finished the DVD and Blu-ray versions of the extended cuts.
Yeah.
They did this massive fucking box set, and all it really was every single version that's ever been released was put in it in a special box. Otherwise, there was nothing new added to it. And basically, so if you'd bought every version that had come out to that point, you had everything that was on there. So people like Gary were pissed. Yeah. So
Peter Jackson was really into releasing anything and everything he could when what was his King Kong movie? Was it Kong or King Kong?
It was called King Kong.
King Kong.
King Kong just.
He released a box set, and I can reach it.
That's one of the few remakes that I enjoy. Is the Peter Jackson one. That's one of my very few narrow exceptions.
He released a box set of his production diaries.
Yeah, I got that too.
And it's beautiful. And I got suckered in and I bought it, and it's probably available on YouTube. But I mean, I can't imagine, other than Star Wars, I can't imagine buying production diaries of any other franchise.
See, I think that came out just before the movie came out, or right as the movie came out on DVD, because I have that too, 6.
Yeah.
Then I think he went and carried all that shit over onto the 4K Blu-ray release. I think so. I'm gonna be wrong, but yeah. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure, because when they did the Blu-ray of it, they cut some of it out, but then when they did the 4K, I think they added it all back in. I have to double check.
I think in the 31 disc version, Peter Jackson puts one of his beard hairs in every box.
Well, even Robert said it's not even his fault so much as Warner doesn't allow him to do anything else anymore, because we had Robert on here the one time when he was talking about it, he said there's still footage that Peter hasn't put in the movies. Robert himself has hundreds, if not maybe thousands of hours of behind the scenes footage yet that's never seen the light of day. Because for those who don't know, Robert worked on the behind the scenes stuff on that. So like, because that was one of the first things Robert come on to me when he said that, he goes, "How the fuck did you get a hold of Robert Shea?" It's like, I worked on those movies for years and I couldn't get a hold of him. I'm like, it wasn't that hard. Just know people, I guess.
Well, personally, I'm waiting for the 301 disc version before I buy it.
Yeah, the definitive holographic version.
With alternative. I want the one that Sean Bean doesn't die in. That's the one I want.
Well, I wonder if Peter got pissed off, because originally the plan was when he did The Hobbit, they were going to let him go back and redo the Lord of the Rings trilogy in 3D. And I think that they didn't let him do that, which was stupid, because then it would have been a way of also releasing the extended cuts in theaters as well. Because those have never been released theatrically, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that would have been a cool way to do it, and then have those also in 3D, and then now finally doing the 4K set. But that was their own missed opportunity at that time. But, yeah. Because I don't even know if The Hobbit
never going to be a permanent thing in the current way that they're doing it.
Yes and no. Like, yeah, it's permanent in the sense that it'll always be around, but it's never going to be the primary home thing. But it's finding its second life in VR. Believe it or not.
Second life, it's like its ninth.
Well, it's second life as far as its most recent deal. Like a lot of these movies now that we used to get in Blu-ray 3D, like I guess there's ways I can get them, but I have to get them through like buying them through like Oculus Rift and shit like that.
You gotta buy a headset and throw it on your head.
I've got the PSVR, but I don't have the Oculus Rift one. But you're supposed to be able to just transfer them over to like standard Blu-ray 3D too, because they're the same files. But now instead of they don't release them on Blu-ray, they're just releasing them digitally that way, I guess is what I've been hearing. So, but Spider-Man is one of the only exceptions that's getting a 3D release, but it's in like Australia, I think, or something like that.
No, no such place exists, Tom, so that can't be
That's
true.
what we keep hearing. But we got super chats here. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Beavis and Butt-Head on TikTok. I'm a badass Ken.
Yeah. Can I do this challenge?
You're stupid. Dash Attack says, those who don't learn from the past are condemned to repeat it. Yes, that other.
Altered that by saying reboot it, because a repeat is identical, and a reboot, it's kind of like the same but different.
True. Larry says, Amazon would love to see all Tolkien works vanish. No, they would just want to buy them all.
Yeah.
No, they want to vanish off their shelves by sales. That's what they want.
That's true. No, because they got their hands on The Hobbit. They tried to get their hands on Lord of the Rings, but they learned that Warner Brothers still owns the rights to as far as the movie side of things.
The Tolkien grandchildren are nowhere near as loyal or respectful to their grandfather's work as their parents were.
Well, and there's that whole thing with the Saul Zaentz company or whatever. That's what complicates this whole fucking matter, because the Tolkien estate controls the books, but the Saul Zaentz company controls all the movie, television, and toy and game rights.
The licensing rights, yeah.
Yeah, the licensing rights.
Never so mention like that to John Fogerty. Yeah, he wouldn't like that.
Why aren't the licensing rights? And don't you have to license the books though?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They control the just only the. See, this is the thing, is they must have, because see, the Saul Zaentz company has found itself in and out of court over this shit a million times over. So my guess is they signed some deal with them as a licensing firm for Tolkien way back when.
Yeah, they're the representatives for licensing deals. Like that's
because you can either do it yourself or you can hire out a licensing firm to do it for you. But throughout this, they somehow gained the rights to all this shit to where they have like the sole rights, and I don't know how if the Tolkien estate just didn't care and they never wanted to back out of them somehow, or if they're just that ironclad that they can't. But like I said, they find themselves in court all the fucking time over this shit. And so basically what happened was, the short version, since Warner had the rights for Lord of the Rings, the rights were about to expire. They got that War of Rohirrim movie in just under the wire as far as the rights expiring. So that's when the Saul Zaentz company went out there and said, as far as we know, the Lord of the Rings rights are up for they've expired and they're up for sale again. Well, then when Amazon tried to buy them, Warner Brothers said, and they challenged them. So I don't know if it actually even got to, I don't think they're ever going to get to court. Because then at that point, they backed off that deal and they only bought the rights to The Hobbit. which that helped get cleaned up because Amazon had a bunch of rights to The Hobbit too, and then they bought Amazon. So, but then that deal's kind of right now. So I have no idea where all that's going. I don't even know if that affects the Hobbit deal. So as of right now, Amazon owns this deal they own The Hobbit flat out, like as far as the movie, television, all that shit rights. But this deal for this show, I think, was a deal made with the Tolkien estate, not the Soul Zance company. That's where that answers your question from before. They don't have, because the Tolkien estate doesn't have the rights to any of that other stuff as far as making movies or TV shows, but they do have like the appendices and some other stuff. And that's where I think that deal was made with Amazon. So that's where Andre and I have been saying we're not even 100% sure if even Amazon can legally cross over the Hobbit rights with the Rings of Power. Because otherwise, if they can basically lead the Rings of Power into a Hobbit show if they wanted to.
Well, all things are possible with money, and Bezos has got a lot of money.
Of course, and that's just it. Money talks and BS walks, and Bezos has more than anybody needs.
Although, in this instance, they've spent, what, $1 billion on this? Everyone keeps saying.
I think it's more than that already. Actually, if you consider the production costs and everything put together, it's been one of the biggest deals in history of Hollywood, wasn't it?
So I would be
For 5 seasons?
Yeah, something like that.
4 or 5 seasons.
So, I mean...
Well, yeah, it's over the course of however many seasons they've ordered, but it's obscenely expensive, and even with that trailer, I'm still not seeing every dollar on that screen, so...
Me either. I mean, I'm seeing some of it. Like I said, some of it looks really good, and it looks better than a lot of the productions we've seen. But I'm with 6 and 70s and everybody else who says it just looks like a generic.
Yeah, I didn't say anything that blew me away.
Fantasy
some of it looked
thing,
okay.
yeah.
I agree with you, Tom. Some of it looked fine. There was nothing wrong with some of it, but
And they can't make it look like the Warner Lord of the Rings. That's the problem. So, and then Mr. Tickle Trunk says, "Hey, Butthead, you're a butt munchkin."
Butt munch.
Nicholas Horton sent us $1. Just tipped us $1. Making it rain dollar bills, y'all. Dearest says, Lord of the Rings came out when nerd culture was becoming mainstream, so a lot of nerds bought their girlfriends and siblings, so it hit at the right time when it was cool to be a nerd. Yes, this is also
he's
true,
talking
Dearest.
about the movies. I thought you meant for the books for a moment. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yep, no, it was a perfect fucking storm of when the movies came out.
But the books did have their cool moment in the late 60s, early 70s.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had guys like Led Zeppelin were into it, and they had a little bit of a cool thing.
Well, it
going
was
on.
that thing that led to that Hobbit special that I was talking about being made, and of course Bakshi getting to make the first half of Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So that kind of surge of 60s kind of
I've seen like engravings on sides of building that said Frodo lives before I even read Lord of the Rings. So
well, it's been around.
Yeah, they were doing that back in the 60s.
Yeah, these are decades old.
Hippie culture really adopted Lord of the Rings big
It
time.
did, yeah. Big style. Like Led Zeppelin and other bands were into it. The
Beatles
Beatles were into it.
Bilbo Baggins song.
Yeah, the Beatles were into it heavily too. I mean,
Well, the Beatles almost made a Lord of the Rings movie. What were you going to say, 6?
That's right.
My boyfriend took me to the first film, and I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, Fellowship of the Ring. And then I went with a couple girlfriends, and I still didn't like it.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say it was the boyfriend that was the problem. Not the
That's what I thought too, though. I thought you'd make
He was sitting there pawing me the whole time, going, "Don't you like it, Precious? Watch the movie with us, Precious."
Hey, you know what? That's funny because I saw him when I went to see Thor.
Wow.
He was in
Like
the theater.
recently, you mean?
I saw that same boyfriend. Yeah, I just saw
It was
him.
on the screen?
No. No, he was
That would suck. And little did you know that boyfriend was Chris Hemsworth.
No, he was.
The boyfriend
no, he was
became
standing in
Tessa
line at
Thompson.
concession.
Well, there you go. That was awkward.
That was funny. That was pretty good. Thank you for that, dearest. And then Tennille says, strange. I missed the show notification. I was actually forwarded here by my auto cue after watching Blazing Saddles clip. Well, hey guys. Well, hi. I'm glad that you made it here after a Blazing Saddles clip, and I'm glad to be in such company. But no, I actually set the show up on time today, way beforehand. You should have gotten a notification. That sucks. Mecha J says release Jackson cut. Yeah. Be nice if we get even longer. And that's what I said. It makes sense. And this is the conversation we were having with Robert that day. It's like, like HBO Max should be like trying to give him money right now. Just be like, here, make these really long versions of the movie so we can cut them up into 10 fucking episodes.
Yeah.
Or hell, better yet, 20 episodes. You know, because it's like 10, 15 hours worth of fucking footage right there if they can get it all together, right? Because the uncut versions are what, over 9 hours together, aren't they?
That's conservative. They're longer than that.
I was gonna say, because
at
that first
least.
one's 3+, the second one's 3.5, I think, and the third one's like 3:45 with the extended.
You can have a
cuts.
good snooze in the middle of the Fellowship of the Ring and still not miss
Yeah.
anything.
And if he adds in, let's just say, another 20, 30, 40 minutes to each one, shit, you could probably get a good 15 episodes out of that easy. Hour-long episodes.
Well, it should happen.
We heard the bird right at the perfect time when everyone got silent.
Everybody here. Nicholas Horton says we never got to see the Battle of the Shire on the big screen because of certain reasons. It's the true final war of the third book. I think the parts of that were actually filmed too. I think that was also something Robert was talking about. Because I know we've seen flashes of it in the movie. So yeah. There's a ton of stuff, I guess, that just never made it into the movie.
Well, they deliberately left out Tom Bombadil because they're like, how do we do this character?
Well, yeah, I don't think they even filmed that, but I'm saying
didn't,
they were still shaving things down as they went along, right? Like they didn't
That would
know
have been
what
the
all
perfect
still was.
time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Tom Bombadil.
Yeah. The walking trees were almost enough at that point. Even the fucking trees walk in that movie.
No, if you were to actually make the books, the movies, like page for page, every movie would be like 3 or 4. Every movie would be like, it'd be the Fellowship of the Ring Part 4, the Return of the King Part 7. Like, don't get me wrong, I would not
like a 4-season, 20-episode series.
Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't complain, but I'm just if that's really what we have to go for. I mean, for what they did with the time that they had to trim down to, I still love those.
Just call it Lord of the Rings: The Complete Story or The Complete Saga.
Yeah.
I love the movies. I like 70s. I'm not knowledgeable on the books, but I love those 3 movies. I saw them all in theaters when they came out.
Yeah.
And I was just so blown away by that trilogy. And like me and my girlfriend rewatched them all recently. I'm just like, damn, this is still like absolutely still awesome
They
to
still
watch.
look
Like
beautiful,
they still look amazing. And it doesn't at times I forget that, many hours have gone by. I'm so immersed in that world. So, and watching that trailer, like, I don't even hate the trailer, but I watch it. My big thing is, besides, even if you take out that line that was said about the past, it doesn't look like the Lord of the Rings. It looks like something else entirely that has the Lord of the Rings name slapped on it.
Yes, that's
and
right.
even though I've not watched Game of Thrones, I've seen previews and I've seen enough clips of the show. And it does look, from what I've seen of Game of Thrones, it looks a lot more like Game of Thrones than it does Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, Werewolf is right. In the theatrical cut, Sorman is killed in Isengard, but it's a little bit different in the director's cut, though, too. But yeah. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, I'd buy 24 or even 48 hours of Lord of the Rings set. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Goddess of Whim says, I watched Lord of the Rings movies out of obligation. I saw it as my generation's Star Wars, a cultural milestone. However, I never got into them more than that. Oh, so you didn't enjoy them, but you did just get into them for the hype of it all, I guess. Yeah, at least you tried. They're not going to be for everybody.
No. And I mean, honestly think I would like. I originally held off on the Fellowship of the Ring. And then a few weeks after, I think 2 weeks after it came out, all friends who I talked to, and I think, man, that was 7th grade. Yeah, 7th grade. They were like, "You gotta see this movie." I'm like, "Really? Okay, I guess." And then I remember saying, "I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing!" And then right away, opening night for the Two Towers and the Return of the King. So the rest is simply history.
I have a similar experience, Nick. I mean, I wasn't. I was a fan of Peter Jackson, actually. So I love, Meet the Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, etc.
Frighteners.
And I thought, you know what? I'm not a big fan of Tolkien. I'm going to go watch this anyway. It's on. It should be quite good. I was blown away by Fellowship of the Ring. So totally sold on it. Absolutely adore those movies now. I think he did the most phenomenal job. And these will be movies that people will still talk about 100 years from now, in my opinion.
Well, we're not the only ones who reacted to this news. Viggo Mortensen reacted to it as well. And his quote was, "What is that? Oh, the TV thing? Is it's with Apple or something? All right. Yeah, I'll watch that. Do you know what the source material they're using is? It'll be fun to see."
I'm fascinated by the money.
That's a little
aspect of
shady
this.
throw in there. I'm kind of interpreting that my own way, but I think that line about "do you know where they're sourcing it from?" But other than that, my buddy Joe Dante, who doesn't know I'm his best friend, had something to say about Baby Yoda. Isn't that right, Six?
That's right.
And what was that? That it's a ripoff, basically, right, of Gizmo.
Yeah.
Oh, good point.
Completely stolen.
That is a good
A lot
call.
of similarities. I mean, Gizmo doesn't speak, and Baby Yoda's a 50-year-old whatever that doesn't speak.
We don't know how old Gizmo is. That's true.
Yeah, Gizmo could be thousands of years old.
Could be.
If anything, Gizmo's a fucking ripoff of the Ewoks. Then cute and fuzzy.
Yeah, but
Ewoks are not cute though. They may be fuzzy, but they're not cute. There's
Yeah, they are
cute
kind of
about them.
ugly if you look at them. You ever seen a shaved? You ever seen a shaved Ewok? They're ugly as fuck.
I'm sure there's some pictures on the internet. Now we're getting to the truth, Tom. Tell us more. Stayed up late last night shaving an Ewok. Is that what they call it?
I'm a non-furry furry. Okay, I like things that used to be furry, but now I feel their bare skin in the areas that used to be furry. This is why I can't own a hairless cat in most states now. He gonna stab me if I get near him. No, I'm kidding. Of course. Okay, so this is the quote from Joe Dante, director of Gremlins, one of my favorite films of all time, and its 1990 sequel, one of the greatest sequels of all time. It's in the movie. I think the longevity of the film is really key to this one character, Gizmo, who is essentially like a baby, Dante told the publication, which brings me, of course, to the subject of Baby Yoda, who is completely stolen and is just out and out copied, shamelessly, I would think. Yeah.
Well, let them fight it out. I think we should have a Yoda Gizmo celebrity death match then.
Well, if anything, he's a hairy Yoda then. Gizmo.
Harry Yoda. I can't wait to... Huh?
Who ripped off whom?
I don't know. Well, the funny thing is Gizmo was an accident anyway.
Pretty
and
sure
Steven Spielberg's fault more so than anything.
Pretty sure the Ewoks are probably ripped off from Wizard of Oz somewhere.
Well, we already know what the Ewoks are. Y'all know the truth, right? And I'm not even joking. This is the honest truth. Yeah. George was like, in the original story, they had Wookiees help them take down the Empire, but he had a Wookiee be the co-pilot. So when I got to the final story, I wanted a primitive culture to help take down the Empire. So I made him short instead of tall, give him short hair instead of long hair, and flip the name around and call them Ewoks instead of Wookiees.
That's part of it. The other part was he couldn't find enough people over 7 feet to do the Wookiees. That was the main reason at the time.
Well, his other thing was he said that since he had Chewbacca being the co-pilot, he didn't think many people would buy Wookiees all of a sudden being a primitive race either. So, yeah, that was
he wanted to do a Viet Cong type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's exactly what it was. But I'm looking forward to the Gizmo series coming up here, or Secrets of the Mogwai. We'll see how bad it is. But Joe Dante is supposed to be consulting on that, so we'll see. We don't know when that's coming out yet. They just say coming soon from Warner Brothers. I think it's next spring or something like that.
Well, it needs to come sooner.
He said come. Mecha J said Warner Brothers' Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim concept art did more to get me interested for their upcoming movie than Amazon's Ring of Powers trailer. Yeah, and the best part is it's attached to the other Lord of the Rings. So it's technically a spin-off of that. So of the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings, that is.
That's going to be a theatrical release?
Yes, as far as I know. It's animated, but yes, it's going to be a theatrical release. Warachi says, coming out of Fellowship of the Rings, I turned to my brother and said, we cannot die until we see Return of the King.
That's a great comment, because I often feel that myself.
Yeah,
as I get older, I think, you know what? I might not see the sequel to this.
Right?
Oops.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Can you imagine? Like, it makes me think about that comic, because I thought about when the whole government response to the China virus happened. What if Infinity War came out in like November 2019 and then Endgame got delayed? What would that have been like? Can you imagine what that would have done, like, with the weight of that? Because like then we would have been living with the idea of, wow, Thanos really killed off everyone, and now we're affected by something in real life.
I was gonna say it'd be even more ironic if it actually did kill half the population.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, yeah, maybe we should hold off on this one.
That would have been a real pandemic then.
Yeah.
I'm not discounting the people that died. Like, my heart's out for them, but like, yeah.
No, I agree.
Numbers should be a lot bigger for something that'd be considered world catastrophe.
No, I hear you. I agree.
I'm just glad. I hope we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel at this point of getting away from all of this shit. It's just.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Infinite Wanderer says, while I do respect Lord of the Rings, my time in D&D left me just considering Lord of the Rings as a generic fantasy template instead of anything fancy. Should read the books though. See, yeah, the only reason I played D&D was because of Lord of the Rings. See, I had the opposite. So yeah, but I see where you're coming from that. Like, it could be just like elaborate D&D campaign, but like, yeah, D&D exists only because of Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure you already were aware of that. So with that, unless there was anything else we had to discuss, I don't think I missed any super chats. Did I, Six? I think that was all of them.
I think that is all. You are good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So with that, I think we're going to wrap things up. Six, do you got anything coming out you want to plug?
Nope. I got nothing.
All right. I didn't think so, but you never know. Script Doctor?
Don't know yet. Follow my Twitter, find out when I do.
You guys can play Shredder's Revenge again.
Ooh, yeah.
When I'm not running Midnight's Edge by myself.
I just saw that it sold 1 million copies. Somebody tweeted that out.
The what?
It sold 1 million copies.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
As it should.
I ain't surprised at all. I bought 2 of them.
I got 2. Yeah, I've got 2.
Yeah. And then Brett Cohen says, I'd buy that for $1. Spot on script to too true, too funny. Thank God somebody brought up RoboCop today, or it wouldn't be a day on Mead. And also, Nick, what you got coming up besides Beavis and Butt-Head Do America on Tuesday?
I got, of course, the Comic Shop Talk tomorrow night and Friday nights. I do every Friday. We talk comics in general, whether it's old stuff, new stuff, or we do reviews on it, and that's a fun thing we would do every Friday night. I also did a video a few days ago on 7 things I'd like to see out of the Rippaverse comics coming. So check that video out and check out the Comic Shop Talk, and of course, by all means, catch the next Toxic Tuesday because it's going to be huge. Thanks for having me on, Tom, and hail to the chat and to the mods. Thank you all.
We're always glad to have you, Nick. And last but definitely not least, that 70s rock fan. Anything you got coming up you want to plug?
I'm working on a couple of new videos. If you want to see something I did on Monday, I had my fortnightly live stream, and we did the movie Outland, the Sean Connery 1981 sci-fi movie. If you want to go back and replay that. Tomorrow I'll probably be later on Foulball Productions MFR Cocktail Lounge, and in Pop Culture Minefield Saturday morning. And I'll be in the chat later on over in Comics Division for Thursday Night Throwdown. So catch me in the chat on there tonight. That's always a lot of fun. So yeah, check that
Sometimes I'm on there. Depends on what they're talking about and if I got work to do.
Indeed, and it sounds like you've got a lot of work to do.
Well, not as much as it's so much just like I'm trying to get it done before Andre passes out or has no ability to deal with it. So I'm going to try and quickly get that done. If I get that done, I might hop on there. It also depends on what they're talking about sometimes, because if it's like I feel like I have nothing to add to it, then it's like I'll just take the damn tonight. Out.
and
Oh,
right
I'll
in saying
probably be there for a
quarterbacking
little
it.
bit then.
Yeah.
Even if
but
you have nothing to add to it, you should change the subject to something you can add to it.
I usually do.
Yeah, that's all I tell you.
Anything can happen on the throwdown. Yeah, I might even turn up.
Even Tom coming could happen.
Indeed, who's home make him?
I hope.
And then
he does.
tomorrow morning we got Midnight's Edge in the morning, of course. Tom Conkle, I think, is going to join us. I think Andre was also still trying to get Cameron to hop in too, but Andre's still on vacation, so I will be there for sure. And maybe some of these people on this panel right now will be there as well. And then Daramuth says, Tom, loved you closing out as Optimus Prime during female toxicity. Toxic femininity, you mean? But that's good enough. Would you mind doing it again, please? Love you all. Midnight's Edge and have a great day. Sure, I can do that again. Yeah, also we have a video that dropped today that was co-edited by Pablo himself. So check that out. And we have another one that should be on its way as soon as I can finish it and we can get it all figured out here on our end. And yeah, other than that, just the normal stuff. And thank you again, everybody, for being here. And
Wait,
Optimus,
I have something to plug.
Please
do.
Tom, MEAD Radio got shut down. He can't live stream from it until August. So he created a new MEAD Radio. I just popped the link in the chat. So if you think you're subscribed to MEAD Radio, make sure you click on this link to see if you're subscribed to this one, because he has been live streaming from this one.
It's bigger, longer, and stronger than MEAD Radio.
And it's a number 2.
It's actually the third, but it's the second number 2.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes. So everybody subscribe to MEAD Radio. It's an awesome show, and frequently the live streams are taken down. So like Tom says, it's a shooting star. You got to catch it while it's live. So make sure you got notifications set.
Thank you, Six. And with that, I want to thank everybody for being good Autobots and not Decepticons. Take care of yourself and each other. Karate with infinite patience. You and I are rare Autobots indeed. Take care.